The less popular sibling of the find a side question is the find an angle question. The less popular sibling of the find an angle question, the less popular sibling of the find a side question is the find an angle question. But to be honest with you, they really have a lot more to do with finding a function like we did in the sine, cosine, and tan video. If you haven't watched that, check it out because it's important. Then it actually does with finding a side. A couple things about this. First, you will have answer choices that look like this. You won't typically have them that are angles unless there's something else going on, maybe special right triangle or something. Why? Because the ACT does not require use of a calculator. And that brings us to the second point. Second, what these functions are, what all trig functions are, is it's a table of values. We don't really think of it as a table of values because, well, the table's in our calculator. It's not on paper anymore like it used to be, okay? So if you've had stats or in high school, one of the things that you've done is you've taken a z-score and looked up in the z-table to find the probability distribution, right? Or you can work it backwards. You can use that probability thing to work back and find the z-score. Well, these are working the same way. So normally we take the angle, right, and we plug it in to find the ratio of the sides, usually because we're trying to find out what one of those sides is. But if we have the ratio of the sides and we need the angle, we just kind of use the table backwards. Again, we don't need to have these values memorized. We don't need these values because they're just going to leave it like this. It's testing whether or not we understand how it works. Very, very occasionally, you'll run into a arc function. That's what these are called, is arc functions with a -1 on top. The inverse, you're going backwards. Problem that's maybe like a unit circle problem, like there's a whole bunch of junk going on here, where it can, but it's never necessary, be helpful to look up using your calculator what that angle would be. If you need to do that, it's just going to be the second button and then the function, right? So second sine, second cosine, second tan. All right, let's dig into this problem. So they gave us a triangle, which was nice. And it's got a hypotenuse of square root of 185. I always say they gave us a triangle, but since I'm the one that wrote the problem, I guess I gave us a triangle. All right. Again, whenever I have a diagram or whenever I'm drawing a diagram, I'm going to try to get rid of everything in the question so I don't need any more. Now look, this is just like a find a function question, just like the one we did. We're just got to find the function that matches, right? Well, is this a true tan value? Is this the correct tan for angle x, right? Is this a correct sine for angle x, so on and so forth. So let's get going. Let's look at tan first since that's A and B. Well, the tan of x will be opposite over adjacent, or 11 over 8. Well, there goes A and B. Those guys are gone. Let's look at C. Sine 8 over square root of 185. Well, I know the bottom's right? Sine of x. But opposite is 11, right? So 11 over 185. Square root of 185. That's not right. That's our only sine answer. If I was clever, I would have checked cosine first, right? Let's look at cosine. Cosine, one of these has to be right. And if you're smart, you don't need to do anything. Or if you're clever with this, not really has to do anything. Being smart, you can figure out which one of these before you do anything else. Cosine of x is adjacent 8 over the square root of 185. What I mean by clever about it is you know that 185 should be in the denominator. That leaves us with letter D. So this is a relatively minor topic. It doesn't show up all the time. I just want you to be comfortable with it when it does. The -1 exponent, this stuff tends to throw people off. It shouldn't. It's, for the most part, it's just like a find a function question. So check out the unit circle stuff. That stuff's really important.